everybody. So without further ado, guys, please welcome the president and CEO of AEW, Mr. Tony Khan. And also joining us right now, the new number one contender to the AEW World Championship, Swerve Strickland. Yeah, take a seat up here, wherever looks good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody.
Pardon me, everybody. I have a ruptured eardrum right now, so I can only hear out of this ear. So definitely be loud with your questions. Thank you.
Without further ado, guys, let's just get into it. Get right into the questions from you guys. So if you've got a question, put your hand up and we'll get a microphone over to you.
Hello, Tony. Hello, Swerve. Jorge Cervera with Lucha Libre Online. Congratulations on the win for tonight. It was a pretty good match, you versus Ricochet. And I want to know, what does it mean to you to have once again the opportunity to be the AEW World Champion? And after the show, I don't know if it was off the camera after the pay-per-view, but you talked with Cope. So how was it to share the ring with him and having the opportunity to be once again the AEW champion?
All this feels like divine for me. Like I debuted here 3 years ago on Revolution. Revolution last year, I wrestled in the three-way for the AEW World Championship, and now this year's Revolution, I'm in number one contendership for the AEW World Championship. So since the first Revolution, I've been talking about coming for championships, and it was like a bold statement to say right off the gate with a lot of people that weren't familiar with who I was. A lot of people that weren't familiar with like where I came from, what I was capable of, what I would do. There's a lot of doubt in the atmosphere that night. And ever since then, I've gone on to like win tag team championships. I've gone on to headline pay-per-views as world champion. Then I got to, headline All In, the first black wrestler to ever main event Wembley Stadium. And so there's still like casted doubt in so many different ways. And it's just like, that's something that I really thrive for. And so Revolution is always like the pay-per-view that I show up in, like silence doubters. And then Dynasty, which is next, is like where I like shut them up completely. So after the pay-per-view going off air with Copeland, I didn't even know he was going to actually still be in the ring. I was just like, man, this is my hero. This is my idol in the ring right now. What would young Stefan Strickland say to like his hero Cope, And those were like words of like from the heart. And it's just like speaking in a way on like the crypto arena. This is where this man made history in this building as well. So it's just like, man, like what would I say to him? And that's what you heard. Like just looking him dead in his eye, but understanding like I'm not that kid anymore. Like everything I've learned, everything I've done here with like Texas death matches, going through like all the pain, putting my body through some of the most excruciating stuff you ever seen with cages and stuff, I learned from Mr. Rated R right there. So if you think like I'm going to go easy or you think I'm going to let up just because you're you and you're someone I look up to, no, not at this stage of my life, not this stage of my career.
Hey, Swerve. Martin Morrow from Before the Bell podcast. First off, congratulations on an amazing match and being the new number one contender. I want to ask, what do you feel is the prestige of that AEW World Championship, and how do you plan to elevate it to even bigger heights on your second reign? Thank you.
Oh, man. Like the AEW Championship was already such a prestigious, like, it was such a prestigious prize because, like, not everybody can face off for that. Not everybody gets a swing at that championship. That's like a really, really hard, difficult, challenging piece of business to get done in any way. So when I won it the first time, I wanted to make sure I stamped that in approval. Like, not everybody can come up here. Not everybody can come up here and do this. And I wanted to push that envelope every single time, like a Double or Nothing, me and Christian. Then like, Forbidden Door, me and Osprey. I wanted to push it even more. And that's why Revolution is what you got tonight, what you saw. Is all these guys have that same mindset. It's like not everybody can perform on this stage. It takes a special crop of people, man and woman, to do what we do tonight. And the championship being at the top of that, it has to be the defining like pinnacle of it. And whoever's holding it has to be the one to know, not just think they can, just you have to know that you're pushing the boundaries, you're pushing the envelope, you're raising the bar every single time, however we can, whatever way that you feel special, that you can make it happen. And that's what I did last summer with the AEW World Championship. And that was just a taste of what I'm capable of. So coming up, I'm number one contender going for the AEW World Championship. I always feel like there's doubters to silence, because that's what AEW is all about. All Elite Wrestling is always about being backed up against the wall, with all the doubters pointing their finger at you, telling you what something about this business, about what professional wrestling, what Tony Khan, a promoter, a CEO of a company, what it should be. And we're like flipping that on them. And we're turning the mirror to them. We're like, no, like we say no a lot all the time. We're always backed against the wall. And then we do something like Revolution. It makes you wonder, like, you know what? I was wrong. So put me on the top of that mountain and lead this company as a world champion again. And for honestly, I don't know if it was said on commentary, but this is the first time 2 black men went for the number one contendership for the AEW World Championship as well. And I have no problem saying that over and over again, saying it louder, because I'm proud of that as well. And that was someone across the ring from me, Ricochet, someone who I haven't liked for over 10 years. 100% legit. And have not gotten along. And that's what we can do together, because I believe in our product. I believe in our talent. I believe in our locker room. And if I can do that with someone like that and push the bar again, I welcome anybody to come over to this company and think that they can do that. But not just like think about it. I want you to do it. I want you to actually prove it. You know what I mean? I want you to live up to like put the money where your mouth is, cash that check, because we just proved that we can over and over again.
All right, 2 more questions, guys.
All right, Mark Hoke, 1015 FM, KDON, Las Vegas. Good to see you again, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well, thank you. How do you plan to approach this run towards the World Championship as opposed to the last time around when you were driving towards becoming the champ?
This one's a little tricky because it's Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley is a tricky individual as it is inside the ring and outside the ring. And this is someone who's already beat me twice in matches, one in singles at the Continental, and the second time in the Continental as well in a 3-way with Jay White. So he's someone that always finds a way to like pull one out of his ass every time to get the win, and especially when it comes to me. But he's like, that's an obstacle. That's probably one of the biggest obstacles I have to overcome, because that's someone that's like, I haven't quite figured him out yet, but I've never been afraid of him. I've never been afraid of anybody. Samoa Joe beat my ass week after week, and I wasn't afraid of him. And that's why I beat for a world championship. You know, Hangman knocked me unconscious, and there's still parts of my memory that I can't even like put together still from that night at All Out. And so like, I'm still not afraid of a cage match. I'm still not afraid of a Hangman, but every loss that I take, every setback I take, I always find ways to figure it out and push forward and move forward and advance and evolve. And I evolve in ways that people didn't even think was like, I even had the capability of doing that. I don't even think about it either. It's just something that just miraculously happens. I put things in the universe and I kind of sit back and wait for it to manifest and come back to me. Then I have something, you know, and that's just how I work. It's not something I can explain. It's not something I can write in a book. It's not something I can say in a shoot interview to get like people to really like, oh, understand this is how Swerve's mind work, because I don't even know. And that's the same thing that Jon Moxley has. He has that same type of thing. And that's why it's very difficult and tricky to go after John Moxley. So, but something has to change and something has to be different. Whatever that thing is, I don't know. That's the beauty of why we watch our product every week. What is it going to take? What's it going to do? When one chess piece moves, what other chess pieces have to move in order to figure out how to take this spot? That's what John Moxley has, and he still has the Death Riders out there. So.
Hi, Swerve. Lauren Coates for Variety. For a long time now, your relationship with Prince Nana has been an integral part of you as a wrestler. Could you talk a little bit about why he's so important to your success?
Prince Nana, he's important to my success because he's important to me as a person. He plays many different roles. He's that conch on my shoulder telling me to do right and to do wrong. He's also the guy that also has a great close relationship with Tony Khan right here. He knows what Tony wants and what he needs. And at the same time, Prince Nana knows I'm always the guy that can deliver him what he wants and what he needs. So there's that communication there, which how I got in the spot in the first place with the number one contendership. Then there's times where it's like I'm Jafar and he's Iago. He's telling me a bunch of shit that's going on around the locker room that like, hey, just be aware. So-and-so's talking. I'm like, oh, word? Heard, bet. That's how I'm going to move accordingly. So there's also times where he does, like he said it a couple of weeks ago in the promos, he's just like, I take bullets for you. But he does that because he believes in me. He believes in Swerve. He believes in like Swerve and Nana. He believes in our brand. He believes in all this stuff. Does he like profit off of that? Absolutely. Does he benefit off of that? Absolutely. But he also suffers from our failures too. He suffers just as bad as I do. And tonight was like on the line, probably one of the biggest things like that we both could have possibly suffered the most. Out of losing not only just the number one contendership, but losing the robe and his family dynasty and my legacy, and like possibly losing that relationship, our friendship. That was really much. All those things were on the line tonight, which is what made everybody so invested in it. And Ricochet is the only person that was able to just do that. Out of me and Nana being together for 2 years, there's only one person that was able to get between me and him the way that they did, and it was Ricochet. And that's the testament to who he is. And so it's like it's not a matter of like what kind of person you're watching. It's like in the ring every week, and when you view our product, it's who are the people that you're watching. That's what I want to change the narrative and flip that switch a little bit, and how you view our product. It's not like the same way you view it, the same way like we've been watching wrestling for the last 30, 40, 50 years. We're human beings and people on top of performers, on top of having this pageantry that we carry on that makes us these characters or whatever you want to call us on screen. We're people. And when you shed a lot of these filters, you strip it right down to the bone, you understand and you feel for us. And that's why you don't want to see me and Nana apart, because you feel for us. I feel for Nana the same way he feels for me. And do we piss each other off? 100%. Absolutely. He's seen it. Like, it's very frustrating sometimes. But I wouldn't be here without him. And I think he was another one I feel like was kind of counted out in his wrestling career too. We thought Prince Nana kind of faded away with like the past legends of Ring of Honor and never to be seen from again. And so that's another thing we have that relates to each other. We always feel like we're being counted out in some way. And then we find our way to just thrust ourselves back into the forefront of not just AEW, but the wrestling business in general. Nobody can walk around and not hear our names and understand, like who we are and what we do. If you're a wrestling fan, I don't care what product you're watching, me and Prince Nana, it. And now it's getting to the point, it's getting past that. Like actors know who Prince Nana and Swerve are. Artists, rappers, musicians, football players, NFL players, like NBA players. Everybody knows who Prince Nana and Swerve are because they know who we are as people. Then we give you a show.
Awesome. Well, Swerve, thank you so much. Congratulations again. Looking forward to seeing what you do with this number one contendership.
What was that? No.
Watch it back over with subtitles.
Congratulations, number one.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's keep rolling on here. Guys, give it up for Big Boom AJ. Everybody loves this guy. Come on, double chocolate chunk cookie. I've never seen somebody get a reaction like this man gets. It's wild.
Fantastic.
It's amazing. Come on up.
much.
So good to see you.
Thank you.
Bring it in.
All right.
Come on.
Thank you so much.
Good to
Renee.
see you. The foot's looking great. The ankle's feeling loose and limber.
The foot's a memory. The foot's a memory.
Hell yeah. How did it feel to get out there tonight?
Well, in front of this crowd in LA.
Yeah.
Boom! Let's go. I am gonna miss LA so much. I love LA. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, let's open it up and take some questions from you
Oh,
guys.
hang on. My phone is.
To be fair,
Somebody
it's
calling?
It
Was
is
that my
AEW.
phone?
Yeah, but it's
It is
playing
AEW.
That's a good thing.
Oh.
It is AEW.
That's why it's another digital engagement.
Watch the products. Love it. Love
Here
it.
we go.
All right, let's get into some. So we'll get some questions from the media in just one second. But Tony, just to quickly throw a question to you. I mean, we've seen the success that we get of having Big Boom AJ, having his whole family out here, the success of that. But being here in LA, all the celebrities that we got to see. We had Leslie Jones, Ken Jeong, the Righteous Gemstone guys. We had Paul Walter Hauser on 0 Hour with us. What does it mean for you to have that kind of support? And like, not even just like ringside enjoying the show, like they were there from the very beginning to the very end, standing up, enjoying every moment of that. What's that feel like for you, TK?
It was amazing. It was amazing to have Big Boom AJ wrestling
Thank
with
you.
us. It's amazing to have Big Boom AJ, Big Justice, the Rizzler, the whole family here with us. They were tremendous. And also, like you said, we had the stars of comedy. We saw two of the Righteous Gemstone stars get involved. Today was Gemolution. It was the kickoff of Righteous Gemstones on Max. And we had a great AEW Revolution. Great to have Adam and Tony here. They were tremendous, and they got involved in their match. And after the show, one of my best friends, Jack Whitehall, who actually presented the AEW belt. We have the AEW belt is now in a case, and it's fitting that the person who took it out of the first place was Bret the Hitman Hart, who got handed the belt by Jack Whitehall on the very first AEW pay-per-view. Jack Whitehall was here. He's been here since the first show, and when Hangman and Max got involved and brought the whole thing full circle. And he came backstage, to your point, Renee, and he said, like, you know, it's crazy because it feels like the whole comedy world is here at AEW Revolution tonight.
Yeah.
So many great comedy stars. You mentioned like a lot of great comedians and actors. Ron Funches, Adam and Tony
shout
from the
out to
Righteous
Ron.
Gemstones, Paul Walter Hauser, who can do comedy, drama, can do everything. So many great names. Leslie Jones, who you mentioned, and Jack Whitehall, and a bunch of others. And it was a great night. And the big stars came out, and we also had a bunch of influencers. And when it comes to influence and expanding the sphere of AEW into pop culture and bringing in new fans and trying to help us, nobody cares more about that. The person who really sets out and believes in it and really loves AEW and loves spending time with us here is Big Boom AJ.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. And every word is that's true. And we do have a bunch of the influencers here in the room with us right now. My man Chewy Cola over there. Chewy Thompson is over there. Of course, we got the Dodgers Films guys back there. We got the Barely Friends podcast by Man Mantis. Am I missing anyone? Who else is here right now? But yeah, we had some of the best influencers. That we had Young Gravy come out.
Yeah,
tonight,
Young Gravy,
right?
great.
Oh, yeah, Young Gravy.
My
AJ, what
man
does it
Danny
mean for you to be
Duncan, everybody
got
was
to
Matthew
bring-
Beam.
You got to bring all these people into this world with you.
Absolutely.
I mean, what was that like for you to kind of bring those two worlds together?
It's incredible. It's so great because I always love the creator community, and I got to watch all of these creators, and now we're just all a big family, and now it's the AEW family, and I couldn't be more grateful that everyone is here right now, and I get to share these moments with Tony, with Renee, with all of you, with all these creators, and it just couldn't be more exciting. So thank you so much for everyone. Thank you,
AJ.
All right, let's open it up to you guys. Any questions for Big Boom AJ?
I love AJ's positivity.
All
It's great.
Hi, Xenia from Xenia Did That. Congratulations
Xenia.
on your great collaboration with
Thank you.
AEW.
Thank
Can
you
you
so
talk
much.
a little bit about how important it is and maybe what were the challenges of integrating a very modern type of content with TikTok, with short form content that younger audience consumes into wrestling that traditionally and before AEW came along was more associated with television and more traditional types of media? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. People want happiness. People want happiness. People want positivity, and you can incorporate it anywhere. You can incorporate it in life every day. You can incorporate it in social media. You can incorporate it in pro wrestling. And that's what we do. That's what Big Justice does. That's what I do, the Rizzler, everyone else in this room right now. We bring the happiness. We bring the positivity. So anywhere we bring it, it's all about the boom. Hey, quick question I have for everyone. At Full Gear, I never knew how we were ever going to top the Rizzler walking down the ramp with Paul White, but I think we may have done it tonight with Orange Cassidy.
He looks good in denim. He really rocked the denim.
It was cool. And it was from, 5 years ago, Orange Cassidy. We saw Orange Cassidy for the first time have his very first match at the original Revolution. It was such a great show tonight. And 5 years later to see Orange Cassidy with the Rizzler, not only to think about how far the Rizzler came in those 5 years, also Orange Cassidy from his very first match. Great to see those two out
What
there
an
together.
honor. What an honor to team up tonight with Orange, with Mark, to have Big Justice, to have the Rizzler there with us, and to have all of you with us. Thank you so much.
Hi, Mark Hoke, 101.5
Hi, Mark.
FM, Kate on
Thank you.
Las Vegas. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Good. You got one of the biggest pops of the night.
Thank you.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I know you had a wrestling past too.
Yes.
Are you starting to maybe think about getting a little deeper into professional wrestling and, maybe joining this roster and going after some people?
How much deeper does everybody want me to get? I thought I was deep. But yes, I am officially with AEW right now. So
And you're undefeated?
Undefeated. I am under contract right now, as is Big Justice and the Rizzler. So yeah, we are going to be here for a while. And I know there are some names on the AEW roster that I might be gunning for. Some guys out there that don't quite believe in what I believe in, the happiness, the positivity, the boom. So yeah, you never know how deep this thing is going to go, Mark. Thank you so much.
Hey, Big Boom, man.
Mantis.
How are you? Congrats on your win.
Thank you so much.
You're full of surprises, man. You're always in the weight room. You never know what the next move is going to be for you guys. You have a new Nike shoe deal coming out soon. What can you tell us about your upcoming song with Jelly House?
Oh, all right, great. So you know that music is a big part of what we do. So we do have some incredible music coming out. As Mantis said, we do have a collaboration coming out with Jelly House that does some great music. Chewy is right here too. We're working on something together. And Swerve and I have actually talked about doing something together. So what do you guys think about that? All right. You'd love to see Swerve with Big Justice, Big Boom AJ. So you never know. That could be coming out soon too.
I love that.
Thank you.
Hey, AJ.
Spidey, what's up?
What's up, man? So when you entered the room, you mentioned you're going to miss Los Angeles. What is it about wrestling in this city, and especially this historic arena, that makes it so special?
This city. Wow. What a week it's been here. What a week it's been here. So I'm going to let you in on a little story. I met up with Tony at the Super Bowl, and I said, Tony, when I get out to Los Angeles, is my job to fill that arena. And Tony said, Big Boom AJ, get out there and fill that arena. We got here Friday, and on Tuesday, the production team called my management and said, all right, Big Boom AJ, stop. The arena's full. So that is just so I love this city. I absolutely love this city. There's so much to do in this city, and the heartbeat of the city, the spirit of this city. And being here Tuesday night to see the Lakers and see LeBron James hit his 50,000th career point. The only man to ever do it. Come on, we got to hear it for LeBron. We got to hear it for LeBron. And then last night at the Kings game, right? My man Quentin Byfield in overtime, a few seconds into overtime, scores the game-winning goal, looks up into the audience and gives 5 big booms. That was just incredible. We got to meet Quentin after the game too. And wow, and then it all comes together tonight. The reason why we came, and I wouldn't want it any other way different. I mean, from coming down the ramp the energy you guys gave, the energy we gave back, the match. I just couldn't have any better memory of LA. And I love LA. I love all of you guys, and I can't wait to come back.
All right, 2 more questions, guys.
That's great.
What's up, Big AJ? This is Kerry from the Valley Boys.
Kerry, what's going on? Let's go Valley Boys. Valley Boy up.
What's going on? So my question is so how does it feel wrestling for such a big company like AEW, and then wrestling in front of your family? Like, that must make you so happy, like, to be having such a big part in your family, but doing such a successful thing.
Sometimes I think it's just so crazy that this is where we are right now, because Big Justice and I started up the channel, and we were the Costco guys. And next thing I know, some people on the internet found some old clips of us and my wrestling days, and they started surfacing, and the comments started popping up. Big Boom AJ, when are you getting back in the ring? And then I get the call from AEW, and they say, hey, we got this pay-per-view coming up in Chicago. Why don't you come out there, do some stuff behind the scenes? Oh, and by the way, bring your gear. Let's take some pictures. So it started off in Chicago, then Full Gear in November, and that match was just incredible. Crazy match there at Full Gear. And then, at the press conference after Full Gear, I was asked, you want to stay in AEW? And Tony said, you're staying. So
I appreciate you staying. I mean, and it's been great because at Full Gear, you were the hometown hero.
Yeah.
Here you were a Hollywood hero, a Tinseltown star, and it was really great. And also, it's the second time now that your family and all your fans have gotten to see you wrestle in front of over 10,000 people in one of the biggest media markets in the world. After we had a great Full Gear at the Prudential Center, we had a great Revolution tonight was just fantastic, and I'm really glad you were a part of it. And both shows were a big success as pay-per-views, but also the live event. And thank you for helping us push the pay-per-view and the tickets.
You got it.
It's awesome.
Of course. I couldn't imagine being any happier than where I am right now at AEW. Thank you, Tony.
Good
That's
man.
awesome.
Thank
of
you so
course.
All right, one more question.
Oh, it's Gio. Hey, by the way, this guy right here just withstood 100 other competitors in a full circle challenge with Mr. Beast. All right, Big Justice was in the competition as well. This guy stayed 7 days inside a circle to win $500,000. How about that, Gio?
I've never had a double chunk chocolate cookie. When we leave, can I get a double chunk chocolate cookie?
You can have all the double chunk chocolate cookies you want, my
Let's
man.
go.
Bring the boom. I got to say, I have never been more exhausted in my life. I am just physically, mentally, spiritually exhausted. That took absolutely everything out of me. But, I'm so happy that all of you are here to share this with me, and I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you so much to all of you. Keep bringing the boom.
In addition to Revolution, I know why you're tired. Daylight savings time.
Oh, all right.
True.
All right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
daylight savings, traveling from the east to the west, grinding all week to make this event what it was. And wow, this is something that we'll never forget. And I hope you guys all feel the same way.
Thank you, Big Boom AJ. Thank you to your whole family. We love
Thank
having you in AEW. Thank you.
And we love being here. Bring the boom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you. I'm getting home.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to sit here with you, Tony. I feel
Hey,
weird when I'm
let's
back
have
there.
a great
Let's just have a little hangout.
solo Renee and Tone zone.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Renee and Tone Zone. Shit, we just
great.
started a new show.
That's great.
Tony, we did it again. I mean, what an incredible night. Crypto.com Arena, our first time being in here. What do you think it is that makes our pay-per-views so damn good? I mean,
think-
oh my God.
I love the show, Renee. It's a great question. And I think it's, first of all, the AEW fans, the fans in the arena tonight added to every match. They were a huge part from start to finish. Fantastic reactions from the beginning of the show to the very end. And the wrestlers and staff. AEW is where the best wrestle. And I believe we have the best roster of wrestlers. And also amazing people backstage who make this possible, thanks to you and the great team. And I mentioned to you when I saw you backstage before the show got started, I've been here so many times as a fan, as a sports fan. I've been to countless Lakers games here since I was a kid. When Shaq was in AEW, it meant a lot to me. I saw Shaq play here. I went to a lot of games over the years, different eras. And this was the first time I was ever working in the building. It was the first time to do AEW here. And it was the first time I actually got to even be part of this backstage area we're all in and to see all this. And it's really special. When we had the first AEW Revolution, even though you weren't officially working in AEW yet, you were there.
Yeah.
And we were in Chicago. And 5 years ago, we started this with an amazing show. I think it was one of the best AEW pay-per-views of all time, the original Revolution. And it was one of the shows in our first year that really set the standard for what AEW would be, the original Revolution. Now, 5 years later, what a show. I believe we have completely matched that. I think this also will stand there along with the original Revolution as one of the, bless you, my friend, one of the greatest pay-per-views in AEW's history. So 5 years later from the original Revolution to now, and to think about all the great stars and moments that have happened in the last 5 years, it's pretty special. But to answer your question, I think you and all the great backstage team, and I think all the great fans and the best roster of wrestlers in the world are what make the AEW pay-per-views time in, time out, I believe, the best pay-per-views in wrestling. Last year, we had a great year of pay-per-view. In 2025, this was our first pay-per-view. I think we've been doing great on television every Wednesday on Dynamite, Saturday on Collision with those shows. But I also think it was a big year for us so far because we kicked off our streaming deal. It was the beginning of this new era of AEW on Max. This is the first pay-per-view of that new era. We brought on a new pay-per-view partner with Amazon Prime. That was a huge success. So it looks like the early preliminary results really positive. And I think thanks to the whole great staff that put that together with us, the great fans here in LA and the great fans watching on pay-per-view, you and the staff and the best wrestlers in the world, we've put on another great pay-per-view.
Tony, while we're here in the Renee and Tone Zone, I do have another question before I hand it over to everybody. Because you are such a huge wrestling fan. Like, I mean, I was watching on one of the monitors in the back, and I'm like freaking out watching some of these matches. How do you watch these matches while also producing the show? How the hell do you wear both those hats?
It's a really great question. It's hard to do, but it's a great thing. And just like when you're a very experienced commentator, producer, announcer, and just like when you're working, it's kind of tough. It's sometimes you lose yourself in these moments, and that's what's great about loving it so much. But we have set the standard with these great pay-per-views, and I really enjoyed them. Just like that original Revolution and all the great moments on that show. It's come full circle here 5 years later. And that was where Jon Moxley first won the world title. Here we are 5 years later. Revolution's been a lot of the best moments in AEW's history. And I think it's funny looking back, I can remember so many of them like they were just yesterday. It's crazy to think we've been doing this Revolution for 5 years and as a company now for about 6 years. And you do kind of lose yourself in those moments as a fan because the shows have been that great. It's easy to do. So I'm right there with you. I'm sure the same things happen to you when you're covering the shows.
Yeah. All right, you guys can have them now. You guys got any
Thanks,
questions?
Renee.
For Tony?
Great question. I appreciate it. It was a good one. Thank you.
Hey, how's it going, Tony? Daryl Starks with Covalent TV. I just want to ask, you've been more recently involved with the product and, you've been getting in the weeds, as people would say, so I have to ask, what is your mindset when it comes to structuring a pay-per-view like Revolution? What goes into match order, how you see things playing out? What does the structure look like in your mind?
Well, it's a great question. I think this has been a great show. And I saw that report. I think to put in perspective what people might have seen and observed, really last year I thought was one of the best years of pay-per-views we've done. And this maintained that standard. And I've always been really a big picture guy, but also a very detail oriented guy. There's been times in AEW where I've been really super detail oriented, like peak pandemic, like that original Revolution I've talked about 5 years ago, wanting to be all over every moment of everything. And I thought that first Revolution, that pay-per-view was one of the best pay-per-views we've done. And the TV on the run up to the original Revolution was some of the best TV we've done. And that was what I wanted to get back to here. And I said, okay, well, that's the idea of being in the weeds on everything, make sure every detail's right, because that's the same attitude I think we had going into the original Revolution, that every show's got to be great. And we had that great run of TV. Of course, I still remember February 2020 like it was yesterday. We had these great towns, these great moments. We were in Austin, Texas. We were in Atlanta. We were in Kansas City. We had some great shows on the run up to the original Revolution, and some of the best TVs I think we had done at that point, certainly, and maybe ever. That pay-per-view was fantastic, and all the details I thought were perfect, and then the show delivered. And that was the goal. We've been doing these great pay-per-views. We've had a lot of great TVs. Something really cool happened at the start of this year. We've had this great roster that really got us through the end of the year. I thought we ended on a real high note with a great World's End and a great Continental Classic that culminated at World's End. And then right at the end of the year, we had some of the biggest stars in AEW returning, where we had MJF, Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega, all former world champions, Adam Copeland, one of the greatest world champions in wrestling history and former two-time TNT champion, all these people coming back at the end of the year, going into this streaming era. So I thought the pieces were there. If we got all the details right and do a great run of TV, just like with the original Revolution, I knew we could really get the fans around the show. And I think that buzz was there, where people were so excited for this pay-per-view. The TV was great. All the matches had an exciting feeling around them, and the pay-per-view I thought really delivered. And so I was really happy with it. And that's how I felt when we were there in Chicago 5 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for asking.
Hi, Anthony Bettino with Annenberg Media. This isn't the first time you guys have ran a pay-per-view in Los Angeles, that being the last one in the Kia Forum, but there's a new hot, big arena in town. Could we possibly see AEW into a dome soon?
I really have had a first great experience here. In the past, we've had great shows in Los Angeles, but this was our first show here at Crypto.com Arena. I'm a great fan of this, so I think we've had a great experience here. So, we've had great collaborations and partnerships. So first and foremost, I'm really excited about what we've done here tonight. This was our debut in a very historic building, one of the most significant sports arenas in the world. And it was a big success for the company. It was one of our biggest crowds and certainly one of our best pay-per-views, I feel like, start to finish, that we've done. So this building was a complete home run. We just had Grand Slam Australia, and I thought this building tonight was a veritable Grand Slam. So I love being here, and it was a great Revolution. So first and foremost, I'm very grateful to Crypto.com Arena and the promoters here, and I would love to come back here. Thanks for asking.
Hi, Tony. Michael Fairman TV. Nice to meet you. I just want to say, let's just talk about the Mariah May Tony Storm, the culmination of this extraordinary story that you told from start to finish. And it has the Hollywood ending tonight. It has the end on the screen, which was brilliant. There were so many brilliant points through it. And you followed it through. With the success of that, can you see yourself doing a long arc story again with a couple other, more of that? Because, sometimes you'll see stories in wrestling that get aborted, you shift, you go left. This you told all the way through.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. And I think it's very cool that we were able to come here and have the Hollywood ending and the culmination of this long rivalry. Absolutely, the goal would be to have, whenever it's possible, to have something, because like you said, people get injured especially when you have such a hard-hitting style. I mean, what a match it was tonight. And they've had hard-hitting great matches. This took the rivalry to another level. It truly was a fantastic Hollywood ending. To come here to Los Angeles and to know that so much of the roots of this story are from Hollywood, to know that, of course, Sunset Boulevard set here in Los Angeles, and there's elements of the character and elements of the presentation of Tony Storm that are taken from that, but also so much of the story here that is really a tribute to All About Eve. And the idea of having somebody come into AEW at the beginning, somebody who is a credentialed, talented person with goals, something that is an ulterior motive really, but a really accomplished person in the industry, to come in and kind of hide that and really put at the forefront that they're a big fan of the top person in the industry, and make it seem like they're trying to get in, trying to get favor with them, trying to learn from them, trying to be a protege to them, when in reality, they're angling for something. They're trying to take their spot. That was the story we told in the first year with Tony and Mariah, and it built to the culmination of the Owen Hart Women's Cup tournament. And we had that great final match. Mariah finally put the knife in Tony. She finally betrayed Tony. That led us to the first match at Wembley Stadium last year. What a fantastic world championship match. And it was Mariah May winning the title, the glamour Mariah May, fully revealed her presentation, more like what we'd seen from her before she arrived in AEW now, and starting to reveal she's a lot more than just a Tony Storm fan. She's a top wrestler, and she came into this with a plan. And like you said, this story kind of played itself out over that part of the year. And then since then, for months and months, it's unfolded. We saw Toni disappear from wrestling and really leave a lot of uncertainty about her future. The story took a lot of twists and turns. It played out perfectly. Thankfully, everybody was able to get through because there was a lot of hard-hitting matches along the way for both of them. Then when Mariah became the champion, she took on a tough schedule. She did hard-hitting matches. And after she got through everything, Toni came back, and nobody really understood what to make of Toni's presentation as the rookie, because looking back, Toni came back as something she is not. Toni came back kind of trying to return the favor to Mariah. Mariah presented herself as a Toni Storm fan. Toni Storm presented herself not as Timeless Toni Storm, not as the former mentor, but as a rookie, trying to play head games with Mariah, trying to get in her head the same way Mariah had really been able to do to Toni ahead of Wembley Stadium. Then we went to Brisbane for Grand Slam Australia, what I personally believe is the greatest AEW TV show of all time. I think start to finish, my personal favorite, and it's all just opinions, but my personal favorite TV show we ever did was Grand Slam Australia. It was 2 minutes and 4 seconds, start to finish, of just fantastic moments culminating in the rematch, Toni Storm versus Mariah May Part 2. And just as we saw Mariah May, her plan unfold in her hometown, she won the Wembley Stadium on the big stage and took the title in the first match. Toni got a measure of revenge in her hometown. It was a great ending. But with AEW Revolution coming here to Los Angeles, I really felt like we should have the Hollywood ending. And there were so many great elements. We're grateful to our media partners, Warner Brothers, TCM, for helping us along the way with the promotion. Very grateful to the filmmakers that helped inspire the ideas, but also very grateful to both women, because I think that the fans who supported them along the way, the fans in the arena tonight, were fantastic. I think at all three matches, whether it was London, Brisbane, or tonight in Los Angeles, all were the perfect places, the perfect time for Toni Storm and Mariah May to take center stage. And I thought that in particular, the two of them tonight delivered their finest match yet, their finest moment, and a great story that we've been able to tell thanks to the two of them, the Glamour Mariah May, who has been a great world champion, and our AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm. I think it's just a fantastic story, and I'm really glad that you asked about it, because anytime you can do something that takes place over a couple years and really showcases two stars, but there were a lot of other people, a lot of moments that were involved, moved, elevated along the way, and it's really spanned some of our best shows and best events ever. Thank you. And I think in particular, all three matches were perfect. And also, whether it was All In London, Wembley Stadium last August, or Grand Slam Australia in Brisbane this past month, or tonight, Revolution here in Los Angeles, I really think all three of these are three of the best shows we've ever done. And certainly Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May are a huge, huge part of why those are three of our greatest shows and a great trilogy. Thank you for asking.
Hey. Hi, Tony. Chris Martinez, iHeartRadio San Diego, Gina Frankie Morning Show, Channel 93. Got to get all the plugins, you know. Real quick, we saw Big Boom AJ perform at a high level of talent right here at AEW tonight. Is there any other like celebrity or influencer that you could see jumping in the ring and doing what he did tonight?
Well, I absolutely thought Big Boom AJ was tremendous. I mean, it's a very high standard. Certainly, he was one of the really popular figures and somebody who really helped us drive a lot of interest in the show. Another person who came in and did fantastic for us, and it's somebody who has a lot of history in this arena in particular, and somebody I think the world of, is Shaq. Shaq came in and was fantastic for AEW, and that was actually 4 years ago this week at this ahead of the second Revolution 2021. Shaq was in AEW, so 4 years ago we saw him. He is absolutely somebody else who's always welcome in AEW. He was one of the greatest celebrities we've ever had. And he is truly one of the most recognizable people in the world when he goes in front of the camera. But Shaq is also one of the most genuine, authentic, and respectful and kind and amazing people behind the camera as well. So Shaq is always somebody that I would hold up to that standard. Thank you for asking.
We ran into Charles Barkley at the airport in Phoenix, and I think he might be down too. So
Oh, interesting.
keep
Okay.
that in your back pocket.
Well, that's good to know. They make a heck of a team. They make a heck of a team on Inside the NBA. They could be a heck of a tandem in the ring, and Charles Barkley could be good. I want to get Charles Barkley out on the golf course sometime.
All right.
That'd be good. People would. Well, I think he and I could have a good golf match.
2 more questions, guys.
How you doing, Tony? Tajan Ryan from Pro Wrestling Torch.
Hey.
First up, I just want to say congratulations on a great show tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
And another incredibly buzzworthy moment that happened tonight was the crowning of a new international champion in Kenny Omega. For a lot of fans, some of AEW's highest highs have been when Kenny was holding the world championship, or for a period of time, 3 or 4 world championships. What does it mean for you to not only have Kenny back in fighting shape, but with gold around his waist once more?
It's fantastic. Kenny Omega is one of the most accomplished, decorated stars we've ever had, but he's also somebody who's been in AEW since the very beginning, in the main event of our very first show at the original Double or Nothing, and in a very prominent position at AEW Revolution from the very beginning. We saw Kenny Omega and Hangman Page team up against the Young Bucks. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, the World Tag Team Champions at the original Revolution. Tonight, we saw Kenny Omega win the AEW International Championship. It puts him on a very select list, a list of 1, only people in AEW history to be the AEW World Champion, a World Tag Team Champion, World Trios Champion, and now the International Champion. Very special. And it's a great list of international champions, some of the biggest and best names, including Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, and many others. Some of our great stars held the title. And the man who Kenny wrestled tonight, Konosuke Takeshita, has defended the title all over the world. He defended the title in different promotions against top competition. He had one of his best matches yet as champion was actually just a couple weeks ago on Dynamite in the main event against Orange Cassidy, who up to this point, maybe those are the 2 greatest international champions ever. And like I said, when you have a title that's been held by some of the greats, including those 2, the world champion, Jon Moxley, many other great stars from the very beginning, you have something very special when you have a moment like that, to have Kenny Omega come back from everything he overcame, because it was not a given a year ago that Kenny Omega was going to get back in the ring and wrestle. He was out of the ring for over a year, and he was been a huge part of AEW from the very beginning. So that's why I referenced before, we knew going into this era, now that we're doing every Wednesday on TBS, we're doing every Saturday on TNT, but we're also streaming every show on Max now. That adds another importance, that adds another level of excitement to every show. And from the very beginning of the year, Kenny Omega has been with us since we kicked it off, and it's been a huge focus, whether it was Maximum Carnage, seeing Kenny Omega's return to the AEW ring, or Grand Slam Brisbane, that classic match, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita, the international champion at the time. And then this match tonight, Kenny, his whole comeback, now with him winning the international championship at Revolution, an event that Kenny Omega, it was a huge part of establishing as one of AEW's signature great events year in, year out. That is very special. So to have Kenny Omega be a part of this great pay-per-view, that means a lot to me, because I thought we had a great year on pay-per-view last year. And really, we had almost everything you could want on our pay-per-views last year. So many great things. But one thing I did miss last year was Kenny Omega. And boy, do we get him back tonight. And I was really glad to have Kenny back, and a great moment to have Kenny Omega win the international championship tonight at Revolution. Thank you.
All right, last question.
Hi, Tony. Miles Enzaldo from K-Rock in Los Angeles.
Hey.
Thank you so much for an incredible evening. First time ever at Crypto.com Arena. Just the crowd, the energy was unbelievable. You just did such a wonderful job explaining the Mariah May, Tony Storm kind of trilogy and the story to this point. And what a night they had this evening. Mox, Cope, everyone was just so incredible. We were talking earlier about, structuring a show and how detail oriented it can be. When you look back on an event, is there ever any worry or not worry so much, but thought as to, what could have closed the show? Like, could Mariah and Tony, could that have closed? Should it have closed? When you look back on these events and these shows, is there anything you would change? And just talking more about the night they had tonight?
Well, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And absolutely, they are both main event quality wrestlers. And we talked about Grand Slam Australia, which I thought was probably the best TV show we've ever done start to finish. And in that case, I thought we put together a great show with great moments. And for where we were going next, I thought it made a lot of sense, but also for where they had been, I felt like that's a fantastic main event. And you saw in the, it was a great match to kick off the show. Like I said, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay got a great reaction. That was a great tag team match. And in the middle of the show, the crossover, the halfway point, great moment and great match to have Adam Copeland return to Australia. And the way the show was built, there were really great moments throughout, but I thought Tony and Mariah in Australia had a fantastic main event. Tonight, they delivered. It was absolutely fantastic, great match. And I really, really believed in it. And I really believed in the story, which is, like I said, the culmination of a really, really long plan and just absolutely fantastic series of events. And absolutely, that's a match that's capable of main eventing, just like in Australia. It's the Hollywood ending or the match at Wembley Stadium, all world title main event level matches. And in particular, I would say their match that did main event Grand Slam Australia was one of the great main events on my all-time favorite TV show. So many great matches and moments along the way, including main events. And I do think tonight's show was one of the best start to finish we ever did. So hindsight's always 2020, but to me, like putting it back together and looking back on it, it's one of my all-time favorite shows. So I was really happy with it. And was, of course, sharing the stage earlier with Swerve Strickland. Tony Storm was in no condition to come up here. He's lost a lot of blood. And it was, I thought, a great moment for Swerve, who 1 year ago won the championship at Dynasty, to have that moment and have the crowd come back and do the Who's House, Swerve's House, which, to be fair, they didn't know they would see him again after what happened with Swerve and Ricochet. So it was a big reaction, and certainly the crowd got behind Swerve at the end too, which is never a surprise. The crowds, wherever we go, do get behind Swerve. So I thought start to finish, it was a great show. And certainly I thought really that would be a great main event. And I also thought in particular, there were a lot of matches that could have been the main event tonight, including any of the last four. And that's why I really called it a big closing four, because I really felt like, okay, these final matches to go to say these are all going to be huge matches with massive significance. And knowing that we had, of course, the Hollywood ending, Kenny Omega returning, his first pay-per-view match in AEW in over a year, his first time challenging for a championship in AEW in over a year, to have Kenny Omega Takeshita, to have then the steel cage match with Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. And that has also been a great story they've told. And they've been in different positions on the card as well, whether it was opening in Grand Slam Australia or Revolution, or excuse me, at World's End. And then in the semi-main position here at Revolution. And then to have, again, Mox and Cope, really four great matches. And they had been in that kind of crossover position at Grand Slam Australia, where I thought Tony and Mariah had that great main event on that great show. So I really felt like any of the final four matches could have stood out there and as the main event. And in particular, knowing that Swerve is waiting in the wings. He's the number one contender. We're heading into Dynasty, where our next pay-per-view, and that's where Swerve won the championship last year. And also I had a feeling the crowd would really get behind seeing Swerve at the end of the show. So, and knowing, especially after the number one contender match earlier in the night, then I felt pretty good about how that came out, and also very happy to see the crowd get behind him. Like he said, he's done a lot for AEW and accomplished a lot. And Swerve and Ricochet had a great match. I think they've also had a fantastic rivalry. So I thought they had a great number one contenders match also tonight. And I thought the show was fantastic start to finish. Thank you for asking. I'm a big K-Rock fan. And for really, thank you all for coming. It's a massive group of you here tonight. I really appreciate everybody coming. I tried to stay pretty late here and answer a lot of questions and get in as many as I could. I hope to see some of you soon. Mark, I'm coming to your town this week. I'll see you in Vegas, and I'll do one with you, and I'll try to, I hope to see a lot of you soon. I can't wait to get back out here. LA's been a great home to me. This has been a great LA sports week to see LeBron get the 50,000th point. The Lakers get the win then Thursday in overtime. Like AJ said, the Kings with the overtime win, and then this fantastic revolution. It's been a great week, and I think there's been a lot of great buzz for AEW, and we're still staying out here in California. We're going to have a great lineup going into Fresno. Now, to be transparent, this is one of the hardest hitting, most physical shows in the history of AEW. There was a lot of blood loss and people beat up, injuries. And I am going through that medical report with the doctor right now to figure out who is going to be cleared to wrestle in Fresno. But I know there are going to be some of the big names they're going to let do it. And we're going to go talk about that right now. But I also always care about delivering what we advertise. So I'm going to work through that because I'll be honest, the men and women on Revolution tonight just absolutely beat the hell out of each other. And we're going to put on a great show Wednesday in Fresno on Dynamite, on TBS and Max. And also we are then going to have a great AEW Collision in Las Vegas. I have some pretty exciting plans, and I'm going to go now cross my fingers and hope the doctors let me do all the things I want to do if everyone lets us. But I would like to just thank all of you, because from the beginning of AEW, we've had great coverage, and some of you have been covering it since the very beginning, for 6 years since we announced this. And even more since the first Revolution, when we got about a year in. And to think 6 years since we announced this, over 5 years now since the original Revolution, this is the 6th Revolution event, all the matches, all the moments, and the time in a lot of ways, at least to me, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the time has flown by. And what's really exciting is there's so much more to look forward to. I hope that I was able to answer at least most of your questions. And if I didn't, I hope to see all of you again very soon, and I can get a chance to answer your question. Please let these guys know if I didn't, and we'll try to get to you next time. And I hope to see some of you in Philadelphia at AEW Dynasty. Growing up, it meant a lot to me to do pro wrestling there. I actually, outside of my hometown, Champaign, Illinois, Philadelphia was the first other place, I guess technically the second place I ever saw a wrestling match. It means a lot to go there for the first AEW pay-per-view in Philadelphia Dynasty. And we're going to have big shoes to fill, because tonight was a great way to start the year. I thought it was a fantastic pay-per-view, continued a streak of great pay-per-views. Thank you all for coming here tonight and covering this. I really appreciate it. I hope you all get home safe. God bless you all, and thanks for covering AEW. Thanks, Renee.
Thank you, guys.